Brian Gardner is with us now. He's a veteran Washington analyst for the financial services company investment bank Keefe Bruyette Woods. He focuses on current political, legislative, and regulatory issues. He is with us this morning from our bureau in D.C. Brian, thanks very much for joining us. The markets care about action more than details right now?
Absolutely. They want a deal. I don't think there are a lot of people I don't think there have been a lot of people expecting a big deal. And we're now talking about big versus small. They want the debt ceiling taken care of. They want it off the table. Investors want to go focus on other things like fundamentals. They just want this behind them.
But the debt ceiling, arguably, Brian, I mean, there's no one really out there, right, who thinks that that's not going to be resolved. It's more about the longer term issue of the deficit, right?
I agree. I don't talk to anybody who realistically thinks that there's going to be any default. If there's a person out there, I have yet to meet them. I think the chatter in Washington from the political class about default is political posturing. We all know there will be no default. There will be a debt ceiling deal. There are issues about big versus small and the longer term repercussions, what a deal might look like. And I don't mean to downplay those, but the bigger issues are, will there be a deal? When will it get done? When can we put this behind us? When is this no longer a story that everybody is kind of fixated on and move on to other more important things?
Brian, the markets need an adult in the room. Is there one yet? And if so, who is it? Is it the president? Is it Erik Cantor? Is it John Boehner? Is it Mitch McConnell? Is it Nancy Pelosi? Which of them represents investors' interests right now?
You know, I think there are plenty of adults in the room. I think there are serious conversations going on. But at the same time, there is the political calculus of getting a deal done, getting a bill through. And that's simple vote counting. And I think it goes back to how congressional districts are drawn today. Most seats are safe. So a average Republican or an average Democrat doesn't worry about the November election. They worry about the primary within their own party. And so each party is playing to its own base. They're protecting their flank. And I think the political calculus dictates that a smaller deal gets done right now. The adults will come together and they will get a deal. It just won't be as far-reaching as some people had hoped a few weeks ago. But I thought those hopes were a little bit, they're a little too much, a little unrealistic. I think they're all adults, but there's political calculus of getting reelected as well.
So is there a way that Democrats would actually pass a deal that doesn't involve tax increases?
I think there will be some minor tax increases to the extent there are the elimination of some deductions, some subsidies, issues like that. I do not see a deal on marginal tax rates. And I think enough Democrats will come together behind that. The White House will lean on them. The congressional leadership of the party will lean on them. They will get the votes that they need to, because if there is a debt vote that fails and there is a market reaction, I think the White House will probably feel some political pain because of that. It's in the president's interest and his party's interest to get the deal done, because it is in their interest. It will get done.
Brian, can they actually get a deal done meeting for an hour and 15 minutes at a time? Or does the president and John Boehner and maybe some other representatives from the Democratic and Republican parties need to sit down and do this collective bargaining style, lock themselves in a room until they reach an agreement, and only then are they allowed out?
Well, I mean, 2 points. I don't think that it's helpful for different members of the negotiating teams to be going out and holding press conferences. I think that's counterproductive, even though it plays to their political base. But also behind the scenes, there are other talks and negotiations going on. These one-on-ones for 75 minutes at the White House. That's more for show. But I think most of the substantive discussions go on behind the scenes where we don't see them, and they continue, and that's where the real work is going to get done. The photo op meetings are just that, and meant for political show rather than the substance of the meetings.
Well, we could all use a little less political theater. Brian, thank you very much. Brian Gardner, he is head of Washington Research at Keefe Bruyette Woods.